on your back with the ball between the knees. Making sure that your feet are equally planted on the floor with all 5 toes of both feet, so all 10 toes, and both heels pressing down into the ground. What I'm going to have you do here, of course, is get that navel to spine connection going and just work on squeezes of the ball as if you were clapping your knees together. What this is going to do is activate those adductor muscles or your inner thighs. It's also going to activate your hip rotators and your hip flexors, as well as those deep transverse abdominal muscles. And I want you to do that as many times as it takes for those inner thighs to really start feeling the work. Okay, so also obviously it's going to work those abductors, the muscles on the outside of the legs or your outer thighs as well. Just this one is focused more on the adductors, the adductors of the inner thighs, to start strengthening up those hips. Good. And the other thing, as you're doing these little knee claps, you can do is start flexing the lower spine and releasing the lower spine. That lower spine pelvic region is going to help with that hip flexor strength, glute strength, inner outer thigh strength because you're squeezing the ball, and also that mobility of the lower spine, pelvis, and hips. So you could do that with the ball held squeeze a few times, just feeling that lower spine articulation, yes, going into an arch. That's extension of the spine, and then tucking under into flexion of the spine, squeezing those glutes. And doing that about 10 to 15 times, nice and slow. Holding a nice squeeze on the ball, so you're engaging your glutes, engaging those adductors. And you're going to immediately start to feel the hips working. Good, and then just go ahead and relax. I'm going to have you take the ball away. We'll get back to it in a little bit. We're going to do leg presses, leg lifts, and leg circles, all with the band looped around the foot. So you've looped the band around the ball of your foot and hold on to the ends. You're going to actually lay on your back, the other foot planted on the ground. Now, if you have extreme flexibility and strength in your core, that leg can go long on the floor. What I want to make sure of is that you're going to maintain hip stability. So as we're moving the leg around, I'm just showing some examples, we don't want the other side of the body to be moving around. So that's going to be determined by your strength and your stability in your core. If you're uncomfortable with that, keep that knee bent with the foot on the floor, as I'm going to show. So very simply, these are also exercises, not just for the hip, but they're going to strengthen the quads, the hamstrings, add a little bit of flexibility. So there's a lot going on here, but for those of you who do have hip weakness and hip pain, these are all wonderful exercises, sort of therapeutic exercises rather than strength, like hardcore strength with weights. This is resistance, so it's adjustable, and it's pretty good for anybody at any fitness level. So we're going to just start easy. I'm going to loop my band a little bit stronger, resistance, and hold it in my hand. Elbows planted into the ground. You don't want your arms to go with it, or that's going to decrease the resistance you're working with. And again, it's adjustable as you go along. So you're going to start by pressing the leg out, squeezing that quadricep, and then pulling the knee back in. Now we're going to imagine that the leg is traveling on a conveyor belt, so it's not going up and down and all over the place. Just riding a straight line out and in. Now you also want to make sure that you're working with an even tempo, both out and in. Even though we have that resistance, you don't want to snap the knee back in. That's going to throw off your positioning, throw off your form, and also eliminate half of the work that you need to be doing. So I want you to do these, I'd say about 10 to 15 times, maintaining a nice core connection, making sure that the pelvis is stable. After your last one of these, you're going to keep it out. And then we're going to lift the leg towards the sky. And then you're leading with your heel, where you're going to feel a nice stretch. A nice stretch in the calf and hamstring here. Now, if you're super tight, your knee will be bent. You'll still feel that stretch. Don't worry about it. You're going to lead with your heel, taking that leg straight down to the ground. Now, this is to strengthen up that hip flexor. You're also getting a little hamstring and glute work here. Up and down. Controlling the up. Again, making sure that leg is traveling in one line. You don't want it wandering all over the place yet. We're just going straight down and up with control. Again, 10 to 15 times. Now, if you find it's not enough resistance, loop the band even more. There we go. Now, if you don't have a band, of course you can still do this. It's good with ankle weights. You could do it without anything at all. Just do it for the mobility and contracting your core and your leg muscles so that you are actually creating resistance for yourself. Down and up. So we're not just using momentum. Good. So again, I said 10 to 15 times of that. Then what I want you to do is take this into leg circles. So again, I'm keeping my elbows planted in the ground. You don't want to take your arms with you because there's no resistance on the band. So elbows down, leg going out to the side as far as you can take it. Circle it down towards the ground in front of you, and then use your core to help lift the leg. We're going to do 10 to 15 in each direction. So that's the first direction. The second direction is down and around. Good, you're going to feel that inner thighs, outer thighs, glutes, hamstrings, quads, and core. All of those muscle groups are working together here to stabilize your pelvis and mobilize the leg in the hip socket. This is super challenging for those of you who don't have hip stability. So those are those 3 exercises. Do each of those 10 to 15 times. I would do about 3 sets of those on each leg, regardless of which leg is your stronger. The one that's weaker, I want you to try and work with more resistance. You may get fewer repetitions, but you're going to start building more strength. So the next series of exercises is actually going to be laying on the side. So I'm just going to flip here. Obviously, I'll be working with my left leg now. So you're going to use the same band. Again, if you want to loop like the other one I have, you can do that. But what I'm going to have you do, again, wrap around the ball of the foot of the top leg. The bottom leg will be bent for stability. And then you're either here, whatever's comfortable for you. I'll be here for talking purposes. But anyway, you're going to have the band looped around your foot. Then I want you to bring your hand right in front of your chest. That's going to give the resistance to the band. Keep pushing that fist down. If you need the other hand, you can always do this as long as you're not hanging out with your core, okay? So I'll show this example. You're going to bend the knee parallel towards you and then press straight down from your body. We're not going behind yet and not forward yet. Those are all options and alternatives. But we're going to pull the knee in and press it out. Pull it in and press it out. Again, 10 to 15 times there. Knee in to press back to engage the glutes and hips. And then in and forward. And you can alternate. Go 1, 2, and 3. Whatever works for you. Or just 10, 10 back, 10 front. That's a good one. You can also do your leg circles here on your side. So keep the arm planted. You're going to feel the resistance at certain points in the exercise. 10 to 15 times, and then in the reverse. Working to gain or maintain even tempo. So you're not allowing that resistance to carry you or drop it or release it. You want to maintain throughout. Okay? So the last exercise I wanted to show, actually there's a couple more, sorry. Lift and lower with the band to the side, letting that leg rotate. That's going to work your external hips and your internal thigh muscles, as well as the inside of those rotators. And then with your ball again, here's the ball. And what I'm going to have you do is put the ball on the floor right in front. You hold that knee right on top of it and press it down. Keeping that core connection, you're rolling the ball towards you and then rolling it away. Rolling it towards you and rolling it away. Now, if you don't have a ball, obviously you can do it just in the air. So what this is all going to do is work to strengthen that whole hip region. The hope is that eventually your hips will be strong enough to hold you standing on one leg, doing leg lifts along without the band, doing leg exercises with machines at the gym, doing lunges and squats and all of that with comfort instead of with discomfort.